Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Mastering the Needs Analysis and 10-Step Recruiting Presentation with MAPS Coach Rich Rector. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours on the MAPS Group YouTube channel. You may access the YouTube channel from your Zoom confirmation email. We will share the link in the chat momentarily. Currently, everyone is on mute. We do value group participation, so we ask that if you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the chat box located in the taskbar at the bottom of your screen. Your questions will be addressed by your coach throughout the webinar. Following the meeting, if you have any question about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's FASTTRACK@kw.com. And that's all for me, Rich. Take it away.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that, Graham. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. Sorry we're a couple minutes late here with our tech challenges, but I value your time, and we will get everything presented in the next 25 minutes. So thanks for being here. So today's topic is the needs analysis 10-step recruiting presentation. A couple of things I want to start with. First of all, in my opinion, the needs analysis and 10-step recruiting presentation are the most important components of experienced agent recruiting. Okay, so for example, let me just go to this slide here real quick. I put together this model, and hopefully it's creates some clarity for you. With experienced agent recruiting, it's really kind of like baseball. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that we've got to get to first base to score runs in our baseball game to win. Right? You're not going to hit a lot of home runs, in a baseball game long term. You got to get base hits, you got to get base runners, to really play the game correctly, right? So in experienced agent recruiting, it's the same thing. We got to get to first base, so we got to know how to set the appointment, what scripts to use. You need to tweak things throughout the year. You need to really get good at getting an appointment, because if we don't have an appointment, then nothing else matters, right? So that's the first piece. The first base is the needs analysis, what we're going to talk about today. And at first base, the needs analysis is really where you're laying the foundation in the conversation, in the communication, to set them up for the presentation. So when we get to first base at the needs analysis, after we set the appointment, we have to establish a gap. We have to establish a need. Once we've done that, then we can layer in how Keller Williams and our tools and systems and models can help them bridge the gap that we help them discover, during the needs analysis. Okay, so that's important to really understand. On the previous slide, we talked about that I wanted to go into is the 4 quadrants. Right, a lot of you have seen this. In the needs analysis conversation, you want to take people from positive present to negative present to positive future to negative future in your conversation. In there, the emotion that and again, how you're taking them through is important with the emotion, because we're taking them through a place of, here's the reality, right, of where we're at. Here's the reality of what that's going to mean in your future if you stay on this path. And that's going to either be positive or negative, right? So, for example, how are things going? Things are going great. Super. What's your goal? My goal is to make $100,000 this year. Awesome. Are you on track? Well, I think so. Well, we're basically working on March business. Right. In about another week, we're going to be working on April production. So question is, if you're on track, let's take a look. You need to be making about $8,500 a month. So January, any pendings in February, you need to be at about 17,000, or you're not on track for $100,000. Right. So are you? Well, no, I'm only going to close, 9,000. All right. So you're on track for 50,000 to start the new year. Through the first 2 months versus 100,000. Wow, I didn't realize that. So does that concern you? And if we don't change that, right, what's going to happen to your goal of hitting 100,000? Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to hit that. And if you don't hit that, you shared with me that means you're not buying that new house. Your kids aren't going to that private school. How do you feel about that, right? So that's an example of how you take somebody from where they're at in the present, positive or negative, to what that means in the future if nothing changes, right? Because it could be positive, because it could be on track. And so that's how we take them in, through these different quadrants in a conversation. And that's really important to understand and master that. So I wanted to start with that model. So as we look at the needs analysis, what we call the experienced agent interview or business consultation, the agents are really looking for solutions. They're looking for guidance, right? So we've established the gap. We've established, where they are, what they're tracking to do. And now what we need to do is we need to provide those solutions to help them bridge their gap. So what's really important to understand in this conversation is when you have a recruiting appointment with somebody, this isn't about you just telling and selling them of why they need to be with Keller Williams. Let me share with you all the great things we have over here. It's too early for that. We want to set them up in the needs analysis so they realize that they're not tracking for what they want, which is going to lead to a negative future if they don't change that. And so now their big why, their goals, their dreams, their potential, whatever that is in jeopardy. And now once you've set somebody up that way in the conversation, they're more interested and willing to listen to the solutions on how to bridge that gap, how to get to the other side, the positive future, right? If you go too early with, let me tell you about Keller Williams, and they haven't psychologically connected the dots that they need anything, right? Then it's going to fall on deaf ears. So they're looking for guidance. They're looking for solutions. The experienced agent interview or the needs analysis is really a list of 26 questions, but you're going to turn those into potentially 75 to 100, depending on how long you have this conversation and how you drill down with the answers. Okay. So like, for example, what does that mean? If I ask somebody what's their goal and they say, well, I don't know. Well, how much money do you want to make? Well, I'm not sure. How much money do you need to make? Well, I need to make, 75,000. Great. You need to make 75,000. How much would you like to make? Assuming that you don't just want to get by. Well, I guess I'd like to make 100. Great. So is it safe to say that 100,000 is your goal? I guess so. So that's an example of how we took one question, what's your goal, and had to ask 5 drill down questions to get the answer. So when you look at the fact that, hey, there's 26 questions in the needs analysis and it may turn into 75 or 100, that's an example of that. Okay. So the needs analysis is really a template for you to follow, okay, that you have a conversation around. You turn into a conversation. These questions are strategically worded, strategically positioned to get you the answers that you want, okay, that we're looking for. Again, you're going to need to drill down if they're unclear to turn this into a conversation and turn this into, again, 75 to 100 questions, okay? Does that make sense? And so here's the other piece is that I'm going to show you where you can pivot in the needs analysis and literally go right into the presentation. So you have 2 options. One is, do you do a 1-step meeting or do you do a 2-step meeting? Okay. So this needs analysis, by the way, if you haven't seen this or received this, which you should have, it's in most of all of our trainings that we have. And so let me know. You can always email me and we'll get that to you. So this is where, I'm going to go through this really quick, but this is with the icebreaker. Tell me about yourself. How long have you been in real estate? What did you do previously? Right? Do you feel like you've reached your potential in your business? What's that next level of success look like for you? What's your vision for your business? Okay. Describe your business as you started the new year. Is it growing, declining, flat? Right? Let's talk about last year. How many transactions did you do? Right? What's your goal this year? Are you on track to hit that goal? We just talked about that, how if they say yes, they are, let's do the math. Let's help them do the math, because most agents don't realize they're off track. Another thing to really consider right now is that most agents are off track. Okay, they're off track to start the new year. They're off track because they were off on the holidays. We had some severe weather issues, here in the last couple months. And then we're dealing with Omicron, right? So most people, and the inventory's at even a lower place than it was last year. So we factor in all four of those things. Most agents are off track. That's a good thing for you as a recruiter, because that's reality. So basically what that means is what they're doing isn't working in terms of getting them to their goal, because they're already behind. It's important for you to make sure that they understand the reality of, are they on track or not, and is that concerning to them? And then what's really important here is, what's your goal? So you want to get to 100,000. How is your life different when you hit that number? How does your life change for you and your family? Last year you made 50. When you're making an extra $1,000 a week, an extra $4,000 a month, how do things change for you? Okay, so those are some of the questions that really set them up to recognize that they have a need. How important is your goal, to hit 100,000 so you can put your kids in that private school and buy that new home? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 9. That's the motivation question. So failure is not an option, is what you're saying. No, it's not. So are you concerned that you're behind to start the new year, and we're basically moving into, almost April here in terms of real estate terms? Gosh, I guess so. So then you get into, what are you doing to, and what's your broker doing to help you turn that around? Right? And you get them to surrender to the fact that they don't have solutions on how to change that. That's where we've established the gap. They have a need to figure out how to change that. Okay. And if somebody was on track and they're doing great and they had their best year ever and they started out with a bang, awesome, and they're on track for their goals, let's stretch their goals. What's next for you? What's the next level of success? Do you have concerns about this tight inventory market, interest rates going up, the talk of, recession, inflation? Do you have any concerns about any kind of a market shift? Right? So stretch their thinking if we need to. So if they come up with any answers on what they're going to do, how do you see yourself turning that around? We want to create doubt around question 13. We want to create doubt. So, how do you see yourself turning those things around? Well, I'm going to prospect more. Well, how long have you known you needed to prospect more? Like the first day in real estate school. Well, I'm going to just work harder. Great. How many hours a week are you putting in now? I'm putting in, about 50 hours a week. Great. And you're off track by 50% to start the year. Does that mean you're going to work 100 hours a week? Right? Probably not a good business plan. Do you have any tactical strategies on how you can turn this thing around? Well, I guess I don't. Okay. Right. So I have to get them to recognize they don't have the solutions, because if they did have the solutions, they wouldn't be off track. Right. And if they think they have the solutions, they don't need me. So we want to make sure that they're really connecting with their reality. That's the most important thing in the needs analysis. So now what you can also do is you can pivot right after question 14, or actually you can do it right after like 15A. You can pivot and go right into the presentation. So what I can say after 15 is I could say, hey, Bob, would you like me to share with you what the $100,000 plus agents are doing right now in this local market to achieve that level of success? What's Bob going to say at this point? We just got him to recognize that he's off track in his goal of 100,000 to start the new year. He's only on track for half that, which means that his kid's private schooling and that new home is in jeopardy, the big why. And I say, would you like me to share with you what those people are doing that in this local market are hitting that level of production you're wanting to hit? Absolutely. Then I can get right into the presentation. Okay. The other questions in the needs analysis, you can take them through all those, or again, you can choose to pivot like right around, again, 15A. You can see some of these questions. Again, for sake of time, I'll send this to you if you haven't seen this, but it's, if I could show you how to, what do you think is holding you back from reaching your goals? Question 21, if you had the support and guidance in those areas, could you do more transactions? How many do you think you could add to your business, right? From your perspective, describe the ideal office. How important is it you to be part of a high energy, positive environment? Do you think an environment like that could add new transactions to your business? If so, how many? That's going to become more and more important as the market gets tighter, is environment, okay? Because when markets start to change, agents start to panic, which is good for recruiters, and agents want to hunker down in a place where they can, that they can connect with other agents. There's training, there's motivation, there's idea sharing, there's some solutions, and there's energy. Okay, so a lot of our competitors, you know who I'm talking about, don't have that situation set up, which was okay with the last market we're in. It's not going to be okay in the market we're going into, which is a great great positioning for you. During the last market shift in the mid 2000s, 45% of the agents got out of real estate. That's an NAR statistic. Do you know that Keller Williams doubled in size and tripled its production in that same time frame? So half the pie left, and we got more than half of what we had before. So think about that, for example. That's huge, and that's because when markets change, companies like ours thrive. So this is the time we want to be recruiting. Anyways, let's go through the rest of this real quick. At the end of the needs analysis, the agent's goals, their challenges, their lack of solutions should be very clear. They have to be clear on their reality, as we've talked about. They have to be motivated to change their result. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to get to your goal of X? We have to make sure we ask those questions, because those are clarifying questions that you can build off of, and move them through that baseball game, the recruiting process that we talked about earlier. They have to be motivated to change their result. If they're not motivated to change the result, like let's say, how important is it for you to accomplish that goal? They say it's a 3. I have to stop and refocus them on that. So it's a 3. So that means that if you don't get to 100,000, your kids don't go to that private school, and you don't buy that new home this year, that's not a problem. Not a big deal. Well, no, not really. It is important. Okay, well, I mean, a 3 is, kind of like if it doesn't happen, no big deal. So again, how important is it for you to start taking control of your business to get to the goal that you set for you and your family, so that you can start living that life by design on a scale of 1 to 10, right? So that's how I'm going to, upsell them, if you will, to their goals and their commitment. All right, so we've got to make sure of that. Some key questions from that needs analysis. Have you reached your potential? What is your income goal? Why is it important to you? Scale of 1 to 10, how far off track are you? What challenges do you have? What are the solutions to those challenges? Right there, those questions, take a screenshot of that, or a picture or whatever, right? So those are some key questions that if you look at all the people that you've met with that are experienced agents, do you know the answers to those questions? Because if you don't know the answers, I guarantee you they don't know the answers, which is why they're stalling out. So it's really important to understand the power behind these questions. All right, so now they're ready to be presented to. Right now we can get into the 10-step presentation. So when we're transitioning, whether you do that at question 15A or you turn it into a second meeting where you're going to share with them the strategies and tactics to hit their goal of 100,000, I'm going, and they come back in for that meeting, I'm going to review the important components and things, answers that they gave me from the previous meeting, or if it's the same sit down, one-step meeting, I'm just going to summarize what they had just told me. So you said, Bob, that hitting 100,000 is non-negotiable. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. The reason it's a 10 is because you want to put your kids in that private school and buy that new house. Is that correct? Yes. So failure is not an option, right? We talked about how do you see yourself getting there. You said working harder, prospecting more. You're already putting in 50 hours a week. You can't work 100 to double your income, and prospecting, you've been in the business for 10 years. You're kind of set in your ways and you already went to those classes, right? So that's not really a strategic business plan. Yes, correct. We talked about your biggest challenges. You said getting listings and dealing with this tight inventory. We talked about how's your broker helping you with that, and you kind of recognize that as much as you like them, they're not really helping you with some of these challenges you're having in your business. Does that sound about right? Yes. So I just summarized their pain, the challenges, and their goals, right? I got them back on the edge of their seat. Great. Let me share with you, Bob, what some of the agents, some of the top agents that we have that are achieving the goals that you're wanting to achieve and beyond are using and doing to achieve that level of success. And then I'm going to go right into my presentation of my benefits. And we'll talk about in a second, the 10-step presentations. All right, so as we look at what your benefits are, you want to think about, are those benefits valuable, right? How do we determine value? We determine value by our agents winning with those. Okay, so just because you think they're valuable, you don't want to sell them. You want to have testimonials and evidence to back up that agents are winning with them, because then it becomes third party and agents are competitive. They don't take your word for it, but if some agent is winning with it, now I think I can win with it too. In terms of your presentation, you can use visual aids, whether you're using a PowerPoint, whether you're using a book, whether you're using some flyers, the MRA book, command demo, whatever you using, have some visual aids. People are visual, right? And use testimonials, as I mentioned. That is key to your presentation. All right, so let's get into this real quick. What are your best benefits? Again, how are they valued? What determines value? Okay, here's the key benefits, that I like to present, right? It doesn't mean that you need to do that, but this is what I like to present. And that is, obviously our technology platform, coaching and consulting, your environment of productivity, our education, 36 touch client follow-up system, the models and systems, and then our KW initiatives. Okay, the tools. So everything else that we have falls into one of those categories. This is just kind of how I've laid it out. So if I'm talking about coaching and consulting, I would say something like, let me share with you, and you can just follow along here in the 10-step presentation. I'm going to explain the benefit. Let me share with you how our performance coaching program works, our business strategy coaching program works. This is where we get together with our agents and we dissect their business and we formulate specific strategies based on their strengths, the opportunities in the market, and the goals they've set. Let me share with you how this coaching and consulting has impacted our agents' incomes. Number 2, right? Susie Q, doing about 12 deals a year, plugged into our coaching last year. She closed 19 transactions. Do you see value in this type of coaching and support? Well, sure. How do you see yourself using it in your business? Gosh, if I had somebody help me with the plan and keep me accountable on track, that would be great. Super. So over the next 12 months, number 5, how many additional transactions do you see yourself adding to your business with this type of coaching and support? Be real conservative. Over the next year, what do you think? Gosh, I don't know, maybe 5. Great. I write down 5, step 6. Then I go back up to step 1, present my next benefit. Technology platform, our advanced agent education. Here's what we do nationally with Family Reunion, Mega Camp, and Masterminds, regionally with programs like Bold, locally with the classes that you have in your market center, right? Evidence. So-and-so went to Bold. They were averaging 10 listings a year. They took 5 listings in 7 weeks. Do you see value in this type of advanced agent education? Sure. How do you see yourself using it? How many additional transactions could you add to your business with it over the next 12 months? 4. Great. Write down the number. I do that with all my benefits, and then I go right down 7 through 10. So I feed back their answers. You said there was 3 from our technology platform, 4 from our coaching, 5 from our advanced agent education, 4 from our models and systems, and 3 from our tools and initiatives. Is that correct? Yes. That's a total of 15 additional transactions. Is that right? Well, yes, it is. What's your average gross commission per deal? Well, it's, $5,000. So 5,000 times 15 is an additional $75,000. When we were talking earlier, you wanted to go from 50 to 100 so you could put your kids in that private school and buy that new house. Can you see how by just plugging yourself in and not even working any harder, you can accomplish that goal this year? Let's get started. Number 10, right? So that's the 10-step process. It's very systematic, laid out. You just follow it. You don't sell people. You ask the questions. You provide the evidence, and the process sells themselves. They sell themselves. When they see themselves using the benefit in their business, they just bought it. When they can quantify how many deals they perceive they can add to their business, they just bought it. Okay. Remember that closing is a natural end to a great presentation. Natural into a great presentation. So real quick, as we wrap up, March 3rd, right after family reunion, I'm doing my next Rockstar recruiting class. I've been doing this program for 12 years in Keller Williams. We do 2 a year. The next one, or the one for 2022, starts on the 3rd. It's a very, very affordable program, and many people have taken it many times. I've put over 2,000 people through this program in the last 12 years. So take a look at this if this is something that you want to, that you're interested in. Your whole market center leadership team and even ALC members, growth committee that are helping you recruit can participate for registration. Okay, they don't have to all pay for themselves. One market center registration, and you can get your whole team included. We do 12 one-hour strategic live calls like this on each of the key components to mastering recruiting, this being one of them, the needs analysis. We also have weekly live webcam prospecting sessions that you can participate in. They're optional, where you can lead generate with me for an hour. I'll help you with your scripts. You can see what other team leaders are doing and how they're lead generating, and that'll help you, because remember, if you can't get the appointment, then none of this else matters. I give you scripts, I give you videos, I give you demo videos of the recruiting presentation, the needs analysis, and a whole bunch more. So if you're interested in the Rockstar Recruiting Program, go to the MAPS coaching site and go ahead and save your seat. Here's some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the program. So you can see from a standpoint of handling objections, the presentation, closing, lead follow-up, leveraging your hires, things about retention, right? Schedule management, a big challenge that we all have, mindset, and the truisms of recruiting experienced agents. So a lot of different things, the leadership playbook that we cover in that program. Here's my contact information. If you have any questions for me, you want to email me, you want to text me, go right ahead and let me know what you need. I'm here to help you. I'll be at family reunion. Come by the MAPS booth. Those of you that are Mastery clients, we'll see you at the Mastery event on Saturday. Again, if you're not attending and you want to participate in this program, let me know. We'll save you a seat. We'll go ahead and get you the registration link. And that's, pretty much it. So if you've got a couple questions, I know we're a little bit over time. I'm here. Go ahead and ask me any questions that you have. And other than that, we'll wrap this up. Anybody have any questions? Guess you'll need to go ahead and raise your hand since there's so many people on this webinar. Did you get some value from this today? Good. All right. It's been recorded. We're going to send it out to all of you. If you missed anything, you can check it out and let me know if I can help you. All right, everybody. Hope to see you next week in Orlando. Safe travels. Bye.